2019 County Commission meeting. I'm going to rise and Commissioner Deloach is on vacation. Following that, Ms. Johnson has a special guest on the introduce.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for everyone gathered here. Please be with us and help us do your will this evening. Thank you for your many blessings. And please be with Coach Clarence Morgan this evening as he goes through some tests. And please be with our world leaders. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Commissioners, staff, and those in attendance tonight, we have Ms. Abel Moss, who is a 9th grade student at Effingham County High School. April is a 4-H leadership team member, and she has competed at the district project achievement since 5th grade. She also attends conferences annually related to 4-H. Ms. April, if you will come forward and lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Moss, for coming out this evening. Next, we're going to move on to the agenda approval. Any other?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If you will look at your revised agenda, that's on the we are requesting to add as new business number 12, consideration to approve a revised 2019 LMIG list and authorize the chairman to sign the LMIG application. So if we can add that as new business number 12. Also, we have received a request to table item number 6 under new business until the May 21st meeting.
I make a motion to approve said agenda with the said changes.
Second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, aye. Okay. Now that we have an agenda, we'll move on to consideration to approve the minutes from the April 16, 2019 regular commissioners meeting. Does everyone have an opportunity to review?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And the motion carries. Moving on to public comments. Public comments are welcome. Just try to keep them to the agenda as they come up. And also, be reminded all documents from this meeting are located in the clerk's office and also on the Board of Commissioners website. With that, we'll move into new business. New business item number 1. Consideration to approve to authorize the chairman to sign a landfill letter for Jasper Village located on Old Augusta Road South. I'll turn to Ms. Johnson.
Okay, I'm so not prepared right now. I'll probably file to me this in 1 second. Bring this up. Okay, so on December 4th, the board approved the water and sewer submittal compliance related to this project, and a letter from the engineer certifying that there was no evidence of a landfill being present was also presented at that time. However, the letter to submit to EPD, notifying them that there wasn't a landfill on that property, was not signed at the time by the chairman. So we just need to have that letter approved and signed so that they can submit it to EPD.
Does everyone understand? Any questions from the board? Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Make motion to approve order number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. The motion carries unanimously. Moving on to new business item number 2. Consideration to approve a proposal from CoStar to assist in valuation of rental and commercial properties and use of comparables from other areas. And I guess we'll welcome Mr. Gruber. Mr. Gruber.
Thank you. So a little bit about CoStar. They are the world's leading commercial database. They're a company, they own apartments.com, LoopNet, and they basically sell their data to tax assessors. It's basically what they do. It's hard for us to get some of this rental information from apartment complexes. It would help us with things such as the new warehouses being built down on the south end of the county. We would be able to find out their rate per square foot on those buildings. And they are also a sole source provider of this information. They're the only one that provides this type of information, and the amount was $720 per month. It's a subscription fee for that, and it would be, I guess, renewed on a yearly basis. And I guess now, if y'all have kind of any questions about, you know, why we would need this in our office.
You think we could collect that money back, I mean, we get it back in taxes for $720 a month?
I believe so. I believe it would be well worth the money. I honestly did not know this existed. I had a salesman from CoStar come in. He showed me the application, showed me the data with Effingham County data in it, and I was very impressed with the amount of data they had for apartments and things such as warehouses. And of course, we could also get like Chatham County. Say we have a commercial property appeal on something that's kind of unique. We could look at comparables from Chatham County or Bryan County, or maybe something in Southwest Georgia. So they open that up, or a different state. They let you look throughout the entire country.
How would we know that it was paying for itself?
I could track it.
You have to hire somebody to track it for us?
I would be able to do that on the different things. That what I could do is look at our previous value versus what it is when we change things over to the income approach, or get some better income data. We do have some apartments on the income approach currently, but it's very hard to get that out of the property owner. They tend not to like coming forward with that information, and this they would actually have entered in themselves. So when it becomes appeal time, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, they're familiar with occupancy rates and things like that.
That's right, and they already have the cap rates for these properties. So basically, we would just enter the data in. They already have it all worked out for us. We wouldn't have to start from scratch, and it's a very involved process to go through this.
So is this an average data, or is this data from the actual property itself?
In some cases, it's from the actual property itself. In other cases, it's comparables. It just kind of depends on the property.
Chatham County uses this.
Yes, Chatham County uses this very heavily. It helps their office out tremendously.
I have several commercial properties, and it's interesting some of the ways some people try to to get that information, different brokers or appraisers will call, I mean, I guess that's what they're doing, they're trying to build this database.
No, yeah.
It's probably working, they're getting a lot of information.
Yeah.
A lot of this sounds very interesting, but I'm looking at the funding line.
Yeah.
And do we have any options we could look at?
Mhm.
Probably.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me? I have looked at the funding for this year. If we take it from anything this year, it's going to come out of the contingency line if he needs to get it in this current fiscal year. For next fiscal year, we can fund it, and it will come from what would have been the contingency line. So I can find it if you approve it.
So it would be much easier to start July 1 if we
Yes, sir.
can. And Neil, would that be an issue if we started July 1?
No, that's when I would want to start, because this year's over and basically done with. We're trying to wrap things up with the tax digest now, so it wouldn't even be used this year. It would be July 1 before we even start trying to use it.
Okay.
So we can do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Mr. Newberry, are you comfortable with the agreement or
I haven't looked at it.
As far as how,
more of a subscription?
as far as how this is administered, this is all state law administered, isn't it? It's not, as far as property taxes and how they're done, whether they go in approach versus
Oh, you're talking about like the way we come up with the value?
Correct.
Yes, that is
all
state.
state mandated.
That's right,
And
that's
the state
right.
allows us to go either way with this. And
Yeah, they want us to, they said use the income approach if it's useful or if we can come up with one. In most cases, a lot of times, you can't, but, if it's an apartment complex or something like that, you can. Obviously, like things like office spaces here would be very hard to come up with. Most people own their own office here, whereas like Chatham County, they may rent it out. So, there's different things. It depends, based on the data.
Any other comments? Can we have some public comment?
And it's probably for you.
Oh, okay.
Craig
Thanks.
Johnson. Craig Johnson. We haven't met. I'm the chairman on the Board of Equalization, so
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be dealing with these can of worms you're fixing to open. My question is the comparables, one comment you made about using other counties. I know that's going to be screaming from high heavens that we're not in Chatham County.
Oh, yeah.
We're in Effingham County. So I guess this question is directed to you.
Yes.
That maybe you can enlighten us on that a little bit, because our comparables, what we have to look at is, they say neighborhoods, but sometimes it's not actually in the neighborhood you live in. They might have to go down the street to a comparable neighborhood. So as far as using other counties, how is that going to affect the appeal process? Because I know it's coming. So that's my question toward you.
Yeah, obviously we wouldn't use anything like Metro Atlanta or anything like that. It would be something just across the Chatham County line. I wouldn't even use Savannah comparables. It would be something where the lines Pooler, Garden City area type thing. More on the south end with Rankin. It's not going to be, you have to look at each property individually and kind of assess the situation. Like those warehouses they're building, obviously, with them being so close to the southern portion of the county, those other warehouses on Jimmy DeLoach would be very comparable because, you're talking about just across the county line. So they're going to pay about the same rate. So we would not try to look at something, farther towards Savannah and that type of thing. We're obviously not going to appraise office spaces on the income approach here. We're going to do it on the cost approach, and like downtown Springfield, we're not going to use Savannah comps for something like that. You have to know, your market, and that's how we would use it for things like warehouses and stuff like that.
Just trying to lighten the workload.
But you have to have it out.
That's right, and it's very time consuming to do so. That would help our office out a tremendous amount.
So what would happen in an appeal case that an owner produced actual rental rates? This is what I read, what you've got me appraised at in Chatham County is 15% higher than what I actually rent at. What happens at that point?
I mean, if they have that, if they're willing to actually give us the data of what they have, I mean, we would be more than willing to go with what they have. That's the issue though. They don't want to give it to us. They don't give it to
If
us.
it's less, then they want to give it.
Oh yeah. That's
If you're
true.
willing to use their numbers, you're more forgiving than Chad, like you promised.
Oh yeah. We would be more than happy to if they have their actual numbers. Yes, and in some cases we will have their.
I think it'd be tough to use another county because if you're getting, I have stuff appraised, they will not use another county.
Yeah.
This close to it, that just.
The way they get the data is from the tenant, not the landlord.
Yeah,
The tenant's a lot more.
that's true.
And I think
That's
that's
true.
how they're getting most of that.
That's right. And obviously, if we have comparables in Effingham County, we're not going to go to Chatham.
Right. Eventually, we're going to have those comparables.
That's right.
We're building up
That's right.
in our own county. That'd be great.
I think all the information we have, the better, so I mean, I think it's a good idea.
Any other comments, questions? If no further comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve agreement with CoStar with a start date of July 1, 2019.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And the motion carries. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Moving on to new business number 3. Consideration to approve to accept a bid and issue a contract to IWBP LLC doing business as Davis Heating and Air to furnish and install an HVAC makeup unit at the county prison. I'll turn to Ms. Fiona Charlton.
Good evening, Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. The unit for cooling the prison kitchen has been down for some time, so the kitchen struggles to keep a comfortable working temperature. The request for quote was issued for a replacement unit and it was advertised in the usual places and sent to known vendors. 3 bids were received. The results are in your bid packets. The results are in your packets. Upon review of the bids, IWBP LLC, doing business as Davis Heating and Air, were determined to be the lowest responsible bidder with a bid price of $45,920. As there are funds available in the current budget and the contract has been approved by the county attorney, staff recommend alternative number 1. Any questions?
Any questions? Discussion from the board?
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And the motion carries unanimous. Moving on to new business number 4. Consideration to approve to issue a termination letter to EMS Consultants for ambulance billing services. Ms. Charlton?
The board approved a contract for ambulance billing services with Colleton Software at the meeting on April 16, 2019. The contract will commence July 1st, 2019. As the new contract has been approved and executed, a letter of termination needs to be issued to the county's current service provider, EMS Consultants. As the termination letter has been reviewed and approved by the county attorney and no funding is involved, staff recommend alternative number 1.
Pretty self-explanatory. Anybody have any questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to new business number 5. Consideration to approve to accept the bid and issue a contract and a notice to proceed to Halt Construction LLC doing business as Smith Steel Structures, Inc. for the construction of a metal building to be used as an unmanned fire station on Ardmore Oakey Road. Mr. Osborne.
The construction of the fire station on Ardmore Oakey Road is approved in the short-term work programme excuse me, and the ISO pre-audit report. An invitation to bid was issued and posted in the usual places and sent to known vendors. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held and was attended by 7 vendors. Bid packets were received for 3 of them. The bid results are in with your paperwork. The low bidder is Hawk Construction LLC doing business as Smith Steel Structures with the bid price of $58,757. Staff would like to make the board aware that the contract and notice to proceed in your packet shows 90 days for project completion, but after discussions with Hawk Construction regarding permits and delivery of the metal building, it was agreed that the project completion date be amended to 120 days. The executed contract reflects this change. As funding is available in the current budget and the contract has been approved by the county attorney, staff recommend alternative number 1. Any questions?
It's quite a spread. I'll just, are you comfortable with the bid, that every, had a good bid package?
Yes, sir.
This is for a single unit, right? It's not a double like Stillwell. So that's a lot cheaper than one to build in Stillwell.
Yes, sir. It's a single bay, and we save substantial savings by we're handling the actual contracting in-house versus having somebody on site all the time doing it.
Very good.
I just had a chance to review. Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve all number 1.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
New business number 6 has been tabled. Time was in the approval. We'll move down to new business item number 7. Consideration to approve an amendment to the allocation of the 2017 water and sewer bonds. Ms. Carpenter.
Hi, Christy Carpenter, Finance Director. After some studies, EOM has determined that we need to make some adjustments to the bonds to be able to fund the projects that we need. So what we are asking, if you look on page 2, it's probably a little clearer. We are asking to reduce the station upgrades and repairs by $370,774. Reduce the station upgrades and engineering by $31,000. Reduce Hodgeville Extension construction $450,000. Reduce Hodgeville Extension engineering $50,000. And in turn, we're going to increase the looping and extension construction $851,774. Increase looping extension engineering for $25,000. And increase wastewater treatment repairs by $25,000.
Everybody understand? I guess I could ask now, where we stand, I mean, you probably don't know exactly where we stand on it, and I can wait till the committee reports on the actual looping moving forward. Chairman Corbett asked me for just an update. Figure now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, we're in the process of drafting the RFP for all 3 projects, separate RFP for each loop to try to encourage some competition and allow some local participation. And for the booster station, I think we'll have the 2 for the looping done by the end of the month. The booster station is a little more work, and I'm a little leery at this point to give a date, but I will be able to at the next meeting.
Any questions or business? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And the motion carries unanimous. Moving on to new business, item number 8. Consideration to approve a resolution to amend the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget. Carpenter.
Yes, and based on the reallocation of that bond, we also need to make those same adjustments to the actual budget. So if you look on page 2, you'll see the exact same numbers on the GL lines. We just need to make those adjustments in the budget to reflect the change that we did for the bond allocation.
Any questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. The motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, item number 9. Consideration to approve the first reading of Article 4, Section 10-117 of the Effingham County Code of Ordinances for an ordinance for trap, neuter, returns of cats. I've got Mr. Dewberry down on this.
I think that was a mistake. Ms. Lawrence here, she had put together the ordinance. I did review it. It's pretty basic and straightforward, but she can tell you the details of it. So, Ms. Lawrence, you will come up with
Good evening. What this would allow us to do is to take feral cats and find funding either by sponsorship or grants that I can achieve, that cats come into the shelter that look healthy, appear healthy. That means they've had substance where they were, and just alter them, give them a rabies shot, ear tip them so that we know that they are in the program, and return them right back where they came from. Euthanasia numbers at the shelter will go way down with that. It's been something that citizens have asked for. Euthanasia, as you well know, is a very controversial and a passionate subject for people, so the more we can do to try to do less of it, we need to do everything that we can do. I've done this for 30 years, and I've trapped thousands of cats and removed them from situations, and they just suck right back in. So if you put them back where they were, they kind of keep new ones from coming in. So I propose that this would be very beneficial for us.
And the citizens, these are cats that the citizens are bringing in.
Citizens, animal control, they sometimes they'll bring them in. There are citizens out there now that do this on their own and they pay for it. They have permission for certain areas to do it, but we need to make it so it's not illegal for them to do that. And they do that with their own money. And there's a few colonies around here that they're already doing that with. And I don't want them to feel like they're, breaking the law or could be in trouble for something where they're trying to help keep animals out of the shelter. So it would keep it legal for everybody, us included.
I've got a couple of emails from different citizens on this to help. Please support an ordinance.
And there's money out there, there's grants available to help.
There are grants out there. I actually, which I had it earmarked for something else, but we just had a citizen donate $2,000 to us.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, use it however you want. And so I said, yay. And then we had another citizen that donated $2,000 to Hope, which is an organization that saves you roughly $14,000 every year because they buy a lot of stuff for the shelter. And our plan at the shelter was we have a catio, but I think we'll put that on back burner and concentrate on that. So we already have $2,000 that we could use to start doing this.
What happens with the dogs?
I'm sorry?
What happens with the dogs in the volume?
The dogs are a different story. You can't do a trap neuter release with dogs because dogs actually can pack up and kill people. That's why they don't concentrate on dogs in that. So the dogs that come into the shelter, there's 3 dispositions for them. They're either euthanized, put up for adoption, or go to rescue. Since I've started here, we've taken the euthanasia numbers, and more so with dogs. Cats are still pretty high. but we've taken your euthanasia rate from 70%, we're down to right under 40%. And this month for April, we're right at 30%. So every month we're chipping away, and the more you chip at it, I'm sorry?
What do you attribute that to lower euthanasia?
The more you chip away at it, the more support you get from the citizens with money.
How are you doing that with the dogs?
Oh, for rescues, euthanasia, adoption. Josh Reddick, he just donated $1,500 to lower the fees. So we fixed so many animals with the money that he donated, and we made the adoption fees a little bit more affordable for folks. And then they came in and adopted animals. And we run specials every now and then to try to lure people in. The more you try to chip away, the more support you get. One Love Animal Rescue helps me a great deal. Coastal Pet Rescue, Palmetto Animal League, Fixing the Burrow, the Bullock Humane Society. These people see that we're working hard at the shelter, and they reach out to us and say, hey, what can we do to help you? So every year we're knocking a little bit more back, and our goal is obviously to get down to the target 0 or under a 10% euthanasia rate, and that would only be for medical animals or extremely vicious animals. And this would help us on that road.
The problem I have with the cat program is it's in direct conflict with our current ordinances keeping cats and dogs out of people's yard. I mean, so basically you're going to take a cat and somebody brings in, you're going to neuter them and put it back in the same place where they came from.
Mm-hmm. These cats would be community cats because they're going to be earmarked with an ear tip.
So then that homeowner has to go deal with that cat again.
We're going to put them in the same location.
Right.
You don't want to move them. But I will tell you from experience, once you take away the estrogen and the testosterone of the animals, there's somebody out there feeding them. Okay, somebody is feeding them because they're coming into the shelter healthy. So for them to be that way, somebody's feeding them. So when they have no urge to roam to find other mates, they're going to stay at the feeding station. So, and then Best Friends, which came in December and did a presentation, they have tips for homeowners, and we can even find grants to actually do deterrents for certain homeowners. As far as nuisance, your ordinance will still cover a nuisance. So if you two are feuding over a specific cat that's your pet, and it's not a community cat per se, that leaves animal control still the opportunity to go in and say, hey, look, you need to do something with your cat, whether it's vaccinated, keep it out of your neighbor's yard, something of that nature. It still gives you a little bit of teeth to work with those animals as well.
And after you neuter them and turn them loose, you don't have to worry about raising any more cats.
Correct. And what will happen is if there's a specific colony where they're at, they usually will keep new ones from coming into that colony, and they eventually die out. The average lifespan of a trap, neuter, release cat is 3 years. So they usually die of natural causes, hit by a car, not ideal situation, but like I said, when you talk about euthanasia, it's highly offensive to the majority of the population. So.
I'd rather that than get about a car.
Yeah.
That's highly offensive to me.
Yeah, that's offensive to me as well, but, we gotta, I've just done it the other way for so many years, it didn't work. I'd like to give this a shot to see if this will work.
I just think that we have to make some changes to our current ordinances to make this work, because we're going to have an ordinance.
Well, this is an ordinance change. This would be going into the ordinance to call them community cats.
True, and that homeowner has no right to keep that cat out of his yard. You can take it to you and you can put it right back.
Right. Well, that's what like I said, once you take away the estrogen and the testosterone, the urge to roam is not there anymore. They're going to hang out at the feeding station. And I know that because I've dealt with cats for my whole life, but last 30 years I've been in the animal welfare business. And my cats are all fat, sassy. They don't leave my yard. And I mean, that's because they don't have the urge to roam. They're all fixed. They stay where the food dish is. So, I mean, you're still going to have your renegade every now and then. Everybody does. But for the most part, I think it's a program that's worthwhile for us to look into, or actually do. We need to move into the 21st century with animal welfare. And we'll work out, there's going to be kinks, and we'll work them out. We'll figure them out.
I'm just not concerned with being
saying, because there are people who've had, I've been in neighborhoods and I've had properties where people just continuously feed, but they roam everywhere versus if they're feeding in their yard, they will stay in their yard. You know, if this works, as you say it would.
There's studies all over the place that says it works, and I mean, if you ask me from just my own animals, I can tell you it works. My own animals stay right where they're supposed to stay. I mean, you know, once in a while you get a problem child, but that's rare.
And the people that drop these off, they will come back, pick them up from the shelter?
No, I think that we will actually try volunteers to return them, because after we get them altered and stuff, that's going to take a few days to orchestrate, get them to the vet. One of the things about working in a rural area, we only have so many veterinarians to work with. I work with PAL now. They have a clinic which is lower cost, and I work with Pet Fix. So it's going to take a little bit of planning to get them down there, get them fixed, and get them back where they need to go. So.
The only issue I see with that, though, it looks like the county's dumping calves.
That's why this ordinance needs to take effect. It's not illegal. It's not illegal for the citizen that is doing it already as well.
Do we have any kind of programs where we can spay or neuter an animal and have it up for adoption?
Well, feral cats you can't adopt out. Now, we do have a barn cat program, but we're kind of running out of barn cat areas, you know, people that said that they would take them in. That's been very successful. We've done over 260 cats in the last little over a year. That's 260 cats that didn't come into the shelter. That's 260 cats that did not reproduce. So that's just being conservative. That's 1,000 cats that we stopped from being born from doing this program.
You're going to do this with feral cats also?
That's what we are doing is feral cats. Cats that are not pets. Cats that you can't pick up. Cats that you can handle, we can adopt. But the ones that you can't handle,
it's just too, there's got to be another way to directly go against our other ordinances. Or another program or something. I'm sorry.
But we can still, if this cat continues to be a nuisance, they would probably out of control, pick it up, bring it back anyway.
if it's a horrible nuisance or something that's just not working out, we can try
Stay
to,
out of Roger's yard.
yeah, we can relocate. There's some that we can try to relocate. Like I said, there is deterrents that, best friends, which I would get that list of that to make sure that we knew all the, you know, tricks to doing that and stuff. But most people, the problem I see at the shelter is, and I know there's some people that hate cats, I get that. But most people will refuse to bring animals into the shelter because they know they're going to be euthanized. So they let them stay at their homes, and then they got 50 cats. Now, if we had fixed that one cat when it showed up at that person's house and put it back, they would be okay with that. But now they got 50, they don't care what happens to them. So now your numbers are going skyrocketing, and it's costing you money to bring those 50 cats in. We had one place this year, one household, 50 cats that we took in. And we tried to get them to do the barn cat program, which they did agree to do like 6 of them. But I asked the gentleman, I said, why didn't you bring the cat in, the 1 or 2 that you had, and let us take care of them then, and you wouldn't have 50 cats at your house? And he said, you would have killed them. And so I said, but it's easier to take care of 1 or 2 than you to bring 50. I said, because now we're losing all 50. We had to euthanize every single one but the 6 that he kept. So if you get in the program and get it started and get it running, over a course of a couple of years, you're going to see the cat decrease and the problems decrease. Because right now, human beings are not going to bring them into the shelter. They're not going to let us euthanize them. And then next year, we've got 50. And then they don't care. Because now they're tearing up their houses, like you said, or causing issue. So if we take care of the 1 or 2 that we have, we can keep the problem from multiplying, and that's the whole point.
Did you say earlier, surrounding counties, do they already have something like this?
Bullock has now adopted it. Their funding comes from, the commissioners adopted this ordinance so that it's not illegal to put them back. And then the Bullock County Humane Society is actually funding it. They're paying for it, and of course by donations as well. Chatham has it, but as you know, they've had a lot of turmoil here lately, so they're kind of in a state of, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't, until they get all that stuff worked out. And they are trying to work it out. There's several, there's one in Whitby, is it Whitmarsh Island? Is that what's called, Whitmarsh? They have one down there. Tybee Island has it. So there's a lot of places in the Palmetto Animal League, which is in Ridgeland, South Carolina. Jacksonville, Florida is the instrument in it. They've been doing it since the 90s. And it's, you know, I worked with Cats Angels in Florida for years, and it makes a difference. Are you going to get them all? I'm not going to lie to you, because somebody moves in with their animals unfixed. But is it going to help you see a reduction in cats in a couple of years? Yes, it is.
I know when you first came in, you were touting the rescues, and I don't know anything about it, but I remember our numbers went down drastically when you first took this job and started bringing all these rescues.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can always try.
Yeah, I think it would be a good program for us to do. You get them euthanized, they can't raise anyone to euthanize them, so whatever happens to them, you're not going to raise any more kittens from them.
Right.
Can we drop them off at your porch?
Yeah. And kitten season is coming. We've already had 3 litters, and I mean, I'm on the phone all the time with rescues, but they're full too. So we need to take another proactive step, one more, and that's to get them fixed before they even reproduce and have these babies.
I love the rescue part of it, because then they got somebody to take care of it and feed it. And
I love it too, but you can't put feral cats in a rescue.
But you're gonna put that feral cat right back out there.
Yeah.
The fact is, I mean, we'd probably be surprised at the numbers of cats that would probably euthanize on the spot. You know, I mean, it just happens.
We did 68% of last year. Yeah. And there are people who do that. I don't want to know about it, la la la. But it's a fact, yes, absolutely. I can't. All I can tell you is my experience with it. You'll see a difference in a few years.
You know what I'd like to see is some data of successful programs.
Well,
and some data, some objectionable, some objective data from people that are cat lovers that say, hey, these programs work. I'd like to see that.
Well, in December, I had Best Friends come down here, and she sent all that stuff to all of you guys. So.
We did have that?
We did. Yeah. She came, she put it up.
Right.
That was objective.
Yeah, and it's proven. Best Friends Animals. It's.
I was looking for something like that with the data, not just we love cats.
Yeah. They had the data. It's Best Friends Animal Society. I work with them. I work with Maddie's Fund, which has just gave us another $500. I earmarked that for shelter animals, but when I get stuff like that, we can earmark that for the trap, neuter, release cats as well. And there are grants out there for that. So.
We have a grant writer, put them to work.
Yay!
Let me ask you this, if we do this, and say in one neighborhood, there's one person that feeds these cats and takes care of them, bring them in, but you're contacted by other citizens in that neighborhood, saying, listen, we want these cats back. How would you handle that? Would you still put them in that neighborhood? If you're, you have the cat lover here who's trying to help, but you also have the people who's like, I'm tired of these cats being on the car. We don't want them back, take them, do whatever.
Each situation would be a little different, I think, because each person handles that differently. The cats really need to go back to the same location that they came from, because now, even though they're domesticated animals, they've reverted back to the wild and they're territorial. I could put them out, I could pick it up at his house and try to put it out at your house, but it's going to try to make its way back and it could cause more problems. They have to go back to the place that they came from. They know that territory, they know the food source. So we have to do what's the most humane for the animal. And so, like I said, there's different deterrents that we would deal with them, and there will be kinks, and we will work them out and we will figure it out. Just like this is a first for me too, so I'm learning as I go, and I've managed to figure out everything so far. So from everything, I try it. It's trial and error, so we'll figure it out. And if I think that it's not working, I can come back and say, hey, we need to rescind this, it's not working. But I think you'll see it's gonna work.
And I think the difference, your question is kind of looking at the small picture, you're looking at the big picture.
I'm looking at down the
Right.
road.
I'm just saying, you're still getting a plan, say I saw a cat cars run through cats.
I mean, if a person brings you a cat, you take care of that cat, put it back out, and the same person brings you that cat again, it's been neutered.
They'll be told when they bring it in that that's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a secret.
Mine's back on the car, and he traps it
So
again.
that, again, that's where we can
What happens then?
get, that's where we can get those deterrents that Best Friends has a list of. We can get grants for some of that too, ideas to keep animals out. But what I'm trying to get across is once you fix them and the estrogen and the testosterone leaves them, they're not gonna roam and end up probably back at that house. They're gonna stay at the food house. They're not gonna wanna wander around as much. That's where you can see the difference. Is it gonna happen overnight? No, it takes about 90 days for the hormones to leave the body.
I know a lot of people complain about cats in our neighborhood, and there's nobody feeding them, so they're all.
There's somebody feeding them or they wouldn't be there.
Not in our area.
You don't think so, but trust me, somebody's feeding them or they wouldn't be
In our
there.
neighborhood, there's somebody.
Somebody is feeding them.
I mean, maybe some far off, but they're, in our immediate.
One of the things that I find as being an animal control officer, and somebody had said possums or raccoons or whatever, or cats, they keep coming to my house. Well, are you feeding them? No, I don't feed them. Okay, so let's try to figure out why they're at your house. Well, after you do a little determination, they feed the dog outside. A hungry cat doesn't care if it's dog food or cat food. So most of the time when these cats are at folks' houses, they're basically inviting them without even knowing they're doing it. And I know from doing this for a long time and being on the road, they're actually inviting them. So.
I think it works. I think it's worth trying.
Doesn't hurt to try it, right?
Again, this doesn't prevent the county from dealing with the cats as they are now, does it? It just makes it,
It's not illegal to put them back out, no. We could fix them, alter them, give them their rabies shots and put them back out.
doesn't require you to do that.
No. If I don't have the funding to fix them, then I won't do
Then
it.
you're gonna handle it like you are handling it today.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment. Tony Girella, I covered this story for Effingham Now. I saw Cameron Moore's presentation.
Yes.
There are verifiable statistics on this, and it does work, and show some heart. You really should support this.
Any more discussion? That, I'm gonna entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. That is 4-1. Vote. And the motion passes. Moving on to item new business number 10. Consideration to reappoint Linda Wright to the Aging Services Advisory Council.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Ms. White has been a member on this board for a number of years. Her term is set to expire on June 30th. We received notification from the Aging Services Council requesting that she be reappointed. Should she be reappointed, her term will run from July 1 of this year to June 30th of 2022. Staff recommends approval.
Any questions or comments on the board? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion passes. Moving on to new business item number 11, consideration to reappoint Dr. Jack Tennyson to the Board of Health.
Yes, sir. Again, we received a letter from the Board of Health Office requesting that an appointment or reappointment is made to this position. Dr. Henisen's term actually expired on February 28th of 2019, according to their records. Dr. Henisen is the physician actively practicing medicine in the county. That's the seat he holds on this board. So staff is recommending reappointment as requested by the Board of Health.
Any questions or comments? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Make a motion to approve 31. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And the motion carries unanimous. That brings us to the addition of new business item number 12, consideration to approve a revised 2019 LMIG list and authorize the chairman to sign the LMIG application. Who's handling this?
Good evening, Michael Kuhn with the OM Operations. We provided a list of roads to be included in the 2019 LMIG grant application, and one of those road segments was Long Pond Road, and the original thought for that road was that it's an ash road, and it would receive GAB, a crushed stone base, and then asphalt paving on it. We have since reconsidered that, researched it a little farther, and don't think that that is the acceptable solution for that road, or really any other ash road. Roberts Engineering was in the end of last year, I don't remember exactly which meeting, did a little presentation on possible ways to improve the ash road base. So we have since met with them 2 other times to look for the right solution without the expense of completely removing the ash base. So at this time, we'd like to remove Long Pond. We've been in contact with DOT in regards to how we will amend the application. We've got that information from them, and we will come back to you with either possibly another road segment to include, or possibly, we also have a DOT list of bridge deficiencies that we're studying. So it's, and bridge repairs meet the requirement for LMIG. So we'll probably come back with some options. The Long Pond cost estimate was $250,000. So we'll come back with some possible options of what would replace Long Pond.
Like I said, Long Pond is in my district, and I certainly agree that that is not money well spent towards it. So I certainly support the revised LMIG list. Any other questions or comments?
Can I bring another road?
Sure.
I talked to Michael, that's the road, Herbert Kessler, but it's a well-known road around here. Well, I went out and rode it on Saturday, and there's 4 major parts of it that are really bad. 2 of them are so bad you can't even get around the potholes. And as you're coming out where it meets the middle of the road, the right side of the road is even eroding off. It's getting skinnier and skinnier where you can't get 2 cars on it. It's in bad shape. I know we can't go past the dirt part of that road for obvious reasons and things from before. I would love it if we could put that on in place of this, possibly. That's probably maybe about the same money. We looked at it a couple of months ago, hoping we could remove or replace it. It was just too much money to have it in the budget. But this may be an opportunity to get that done. In addition to that, I was also called by the governor's office concerning somebody, a constituent reached out. That wasn't what brought my attention, because he already been looking at it, but It's a major concern. It's not a huge stretch of road, but there's definitely people out there, especially at the end of that before it turns into dirt.
I'm still interested in actually resolving that road all the way through.
I would love to. You know, there's people out there that are on that paved part are getting punished because of what's.
I know.
Because of that.
Well, would we have enough information to just put it on this list now? Or do we need to?
I think that's a little bit premature. As I mentioned, we've had 2 meetings. The last meeting, they brought in, Roberts Engineering is actually partnered with an emulsion company, a large company, and they brought in their chemist and brought in a project manager. So we've got some additional information. It looks promising, but we're still waiting on a little more information. I'm be a little hesitant right at this moment to make that recommendation, but it would appear that we will be looking for a road segment as a trial. It will still have to be funded, but as a trial to see how it, how it behaves.
And this would have, like elaborate on that, what we talked about earlier was instead of trying to remove the ash, which is a major expense, and want to kick that up to $500,000 or so, that small stretch, is they take that and they grind it up and use it as the aggregate base. And they come back over and pay it. Without treating it or without adding the concrete, if you added something to make it stick together, it made the surface worse rather than better.
Right. They'll be grinding it up, and they actually have gradation that they have to have it ground to, and then they inject emulsion, and so it makes, and it doesn't sound right, but asphalt's a flexible pavement, so anyways, you end up with a flexible base, but by design. So then there's different options for road surface, but typically an asphalt overlay over it and have a road that is designed to perform.
There's my understanding in the presentation that they want a section of the road that's going to have heavy truck traffic to really give it a true test. I don't know how much.
Probably, I can take some of my trucks out there.
And
But as far as that goes, I mean, I'm not opposed to trying to do something with the road, but I just know for that particular point.
And
I'll address this item tonight, and what your point was, we don't have enough information to just take.
I don't know, I was asking,
I think it's a little, this project has been advertised for bid, and so to keep the other roads moving is why we're asking to remove it before we have a proposal or options to put back on. They will be handled separately, but we could keep this part of the other, I forget whether there's 6 or 7 other road segments that we could keep moving forward on a schedule while we decide and have some proposal. Yes, Long Pond Road is an ash road.
It's my understanding we can't use LB funds on an ash road. It has to be on a regular paved road. I mean, I'm not trying to shoot it down.
Right.
Like I said, I'm for getting the road fixed.
And I don't know, I can't tell you, although I read it, that's not my understanding. The new LMIG is a little more flexible in terms of, it can actually be used to, in the past, it wasn't allowed to be new roads. There was more restricted limitations, but the information that we have is that they have changed that, and so it would meet that criteria. We certainly will follow up with that. We have that only in documentation, but we'll certainly we spoke to the DOT in regards to how to amend the application. So, if we get to that point, we'll certainly confirm that before we move.
Well, that's true, and that's great, but I know the last time I'd asked about it, they said
right. It certainly was limited in the past.
Okay.
If this process works, it could save us a lot of money, using all of our insurance.
It does. I'm cautious here, because
Right. And and I don't know if there's time for this or not, but there's still several things to consider. I'm gonna go back to Jamie's comment about truck traffic. So the road is still gonna be designed for the traffic load. So, and obviously then expense follows that. So residential road would be designed with a depth of base to, that's right. So they still, even though it's utilizing the ash, it is still designed, and I'll admit I'm a little leery too, which is why I think we need some more information and possibly a segment to test. But it does show some promise.
Well, aside from that, we have this item at hand. Any other comments, questions regarding the agenda? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative one, revised LD list.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. That concludes all the new business. Will bring us to the reports from administrative staff and commissioners. Where do we want to start? I'll start with Stephanie.
I'll go first real quick. We have our animal control report for April. Effingham Health Systems is having their 50th year Jubilee Gala on Saturday, September 21st, right across the street from us here at the local in Laurel. It's a black tie event, and they are asking for sponsorship. So they have levels at the diamond, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze levels, which range from $1,000 to $5,000 for donations. So that's for you to think about. Tire fees. So you got an email from me previously in that packet of your committee reports. Atlantic Waste is proposing an increase on these fees. If you'll get a look at that, they're looking to change off the rim car tires from $3 to $6, large truck tires from $8 to $19, farm tires from $15 to $24, and then on the rim tires from $5 to $11.50 for large trucks, $20 to $39, and farm truck tires from $35 to $45.
Is that given a reasoning?
They said Jeff Freeze is the individual I've been dealing with Atlantic, and Jeff states that it's hard to get rid of them.
Because I know I have a regular conversation with the warden, because in District 3, we have a problem with dumping tires on the side of the road. And that will contribute to that, because some of these increases are pretty substantial.
Huge. What can we do about enforcing no dumping?
And it's not just tires that dumping, it's all.
I say
Couches, chairs.
The sheriff, I've talked with him about it, and I mean, they put time and resources in certain areas that are bad, but
They can't be everywhere. First of all, we've got to get better at the punishment when someone, because sometimes I felt like we had evidence needed, and it just couldn't make its way forward. And it's frustrating.
Not enforcing your own ordinances.
Yeah, I think we need to get better at that.
Absolutely.
But it's a problem.
So I told Jeff I would bring it before you all so that you're aware of the proposal. But I also advised him that this is within our schedule of fees, and the changes cannot be implemented until it has been approved by the board. He understands that.
Is it within the scope of the current contract to go up this amount, or is there an amount in the contract? This is double, this is 100%.
There is an amount in the contract, so the contract would have to be amended as well.
So the contract, is that a set amount, or does it allow for a percentage increase or anything?
It doesn't allow for a percentage increase. That I recall, I think it was a set amount.
This is massive.
And that's all I have.
Okay. we can,
Did they give us any data to substantiate this sizing?
So is this coming on an agenda soon, or?
You have to advise how you'd like to move forward.
I think we take this info and each of us digest it and discuss it and then get to the next meeting. We can all kind of do our own little research on the side.
Yeah, I'd like to see where they take the tires to and what they're currently charging them to take them. I know you have costs involved by the transportation of the tires. You know,
My understanding, they're just stockpiling and growing. That's my understanding. I am.
So land races is put in the yard.
According to her.
County property?
Yeah, that's the transfer. That's my understanding. I haven't laid my eyes on it.
So what do they do with it?
Well, that's what they're saying.
They want to dispose of it, but they don't want to do it at current contract prices.
Lightning struck would be good. That'd help out with it. Of course, fire department's right there, they put it out.
It's been out a bigger mess.
Yeah, anyway, as a whole.
All right. Big truck tires are tire disposal fees, like $5.
I honestly do not know where tires end up.
They used to grind them up, but I didn't quit
I
that.
mean, they're different recycling.
And make it mulch it.
Yeah.
They got strip it up.
We'll keep going around. Chief Hodges, anything?
No, sir,
Nothing.
Anybody? No? Okay.
I need executive session for about 5 minutes. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
We'll give you 5.
Okay. It'll be quick.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and finish up here. Commissioners, anything?
Yeah, I got a letter from us to Tyrone Valley in Shadowbrook. And he's concerned about the houses being built there, and only one entrance. There's only one way to get in there off of Bog Landing Road. They used to have a road, you could cross the railroad track, but you don't cross the railroad track anymore. But Springfield put the Springfield on there, and he said when it's finished out, he's been living there since 2007, and it wasn't, he said with all of the building going on there now, he said there will be 700 homes in there, and there's only one way in and one way out, and he's concerned about that.
Sounds like it's something we may have approved, though. Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's starting building, and everybody else, they'll buy a tract of land there, and then we'll okay another subdivision. 700 homes and one little road going in and out, and we discussed that. We made subdivisions have another entrance, so they could come in another way. But this don't have another way to get in, all right.
So it looks back on what we've approved. Yeah, that's.
So anyway.
What happens with that, if you get like, you got a similar situation on our I got one entrance out, in and out. They want to retool the interior of it, so it accommodates a lot more townhomes instead of just regular homes. 70, 80, 90 home increase. What do you do in that situation? You have a certain plan approved ahead of time, and then we'll alter that.
Well, we used to sort of hold them to it. I mean, we try to find, so we don't need another way in and out there if you don't have that many homes in there. But evidently, we're not controlling. He said there'll be 700 houses in there.
So do we do some kind of study to see if it can support the additional homes? Or how would we tackle
Well, 700 for one little road going in and out, that's a lot of vehicles.
It's a ton of vehicles.
You know, that many there now, but he says if we let them go ahead and keep building, they got 2 more phases going on in there, it will be 700. It's not right now, but he's concerned about it. So I told him, we had a commissioners meeting, I said I'd get back with him and find out what we can do about it.
So we need to try to catch that stuff, probably a sketch plan approval at those times.
But we used to talk about that, but we haven't talked about that lately in subdivision.
Yeah.
But that's all I have.
The next meeting, we should have an agenda item on the lease with Board of Education for 4-H. I'm supposed to get a copy of that, official copy of that this week, and I'm going to give that to our county attorney that will look over it. And by next meeting, there should be plenty of time to look over it. So that'll be coming up. And to Mr. Burdette on Hurry Kessel Road, have you talked with EOM? Have you talked with Clyde? Have you got him to look? As a worker?
Did you Clark go out and look?
He did, yeah. We both been out there. We'll make some additional patching on that.
Okay. Okay. That's what I was going to say. I've got Clyde to go out.
Get it passed. They just, I think it was done not long ago, wasn't it? It just-
I'll be honest with you, I don't, without looking back, I honestly don't know. But the surface treatment is delaminating in some areas.
And just remind y'all, I think it's June 18th. That's when Todd Long, More Now the Belly's coming. And we're going to have the cities, municipalities, Board of Education, IDA, the chamber here as well. He's going to kind of run through and discuss T-SPLOS, the ins and outs of that. He's done, we'll probably get the exact same presentation that he gave Liberty County. So some good, June 18th, yeah.
We got an email on.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Mr. Burdette. Covered it. All right, well, that is, reports. Looks like we need an executive session. Anybody want?
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel property and pending litigation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And we will enter into executive session.
I didn't put 5 minutes on there either.
5 minutes, I promise.
I left that off.
It's a
I'll give you those.
Okay,
Good.
yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to enter back into executive session.
Make a motion to go back in regular session.
Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And we are back in regular session.
We got the okay.
Executive session minutes.
Well, we have executive session minutes from April 16, 2019. Everyone has looked at those. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. And it is approved. Is there any other business to come before this board?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise.